Hey guys, look what I made. Ramen and an egg. It looks so good. I'm back. I honestly just have been so fucking anxious these past 2 weeks, I think. And it's been really hard to sit down and just do anything without duh, 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 duh. So now I'm just trying to have a calm lunch. It's 2 o'clock. My family's out of town, sitting at home in my house, and I'm trying not to let my thoughts run wild because I'm home alone and it's quite scary. It's usually never like something I worry about being home alone, but it's no one I know is around at all, and I'm only with my fucking dog. And so just trying to sit down and have a nice conversation over my ramen. You can listen to me slurp. This could be an ASMR. Anyways, I watched another podcast last night. Woo! This one I thought was super interesting. It was about how jealousy has this horrible, negative connotation around it, but in reality, the actions that are a product of jealousy are more despicable than the actual feeling of jealousy itself. And yeah, we're just hopping right into it. There's nothing else I want to say other than this right now. So I really thought this was nice because Madeline RG, of course, was talking about it. Saint, love her. She was basically saying that allowing yourself to feel jealous is obviously a human reaction to a situation that you reacted negatively to, right? And so allowing yourself to feel this jealousy is super important, because then shaping it into a discussion where you're sitting with your jealousy, but you're not going to do harm onto someone else, because you're kind of controlling that behavior or allowing yourself to feel this before you act on a certain situation, is really important, because it lets yourself open up to more acts of empathy towards yourself, I would say. Because once you kind of understand that jealousy is a human emotion, it's not something to be ashamed of, you can just set boundaries for yourself instead of trying to control the other person, I would say. It's something that you shouldn't really feel shameful about, because you won't be everything for someone else. And I don't really know where exactly I was going with this. I think it's more of from a relationship perspective, right? So I've been in a lot of relationships where I feel super jealous. My ex-boyfriend, whatever, is hanging out with his friends for hours on end doing whatever they're doing. And so I feel jealous. I felt jealous in this situation. And so I would start bidding for his attention, being why don't you do this for me more? You should show up. You should text me. You should do this, blah, 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 blah. And it's I the feeling of jealousy shouldn't be looked down upon. It's more of my behavior that I was forced, not really forced into doing, but basically just moved into doing, that I should feel more shameful about. And so I feel once you kind of sit with that and realize that these emotions are just human reactions to a certain behavior, it allows yourself to be more empathetic, and you want to feel loved and you want to feel desired, and you deserve that as in a relationship. But it's just that I think jealousy gets a bad rap, and I really love how Madeline RG talks about it, because a lot of these things we shouldn't feel shameful about, and it's just society that has created this kind of bubble that we should feel ashamed once we feel these certain things, but it's really the behavior that we should feel shameful about. And I think it also kind of works both ways with your partner, because you shouldn't demonize your partner for feeling a certain way, because a lot of our emotions are valid. If you feel it, then I think it's important that you recognize that. But you should always ask the question, I wonder why they felt that way, instead of judging their initial response to a situation. Why would you feel jealous about that situation with your partner going out and not texting you? Well, it's because I don't know, miss having you around, or I miss having you text me, or blah, blah, all that other crazy stuff. But I think you should afford yourself that privilege of asking the other partner why they feel that way. And that leads me into my next point. Why do I feel so goddamn anxious? I don't I do know why. I think there's a lot of things. It is this deep, okay? Because I can't really think about it any other way. I know that I'm feeling more anxious because one, there are certain behaviors that like I can kind of like clock instantly where I feel super anxious. My hands start to sweat really bad. My feet start to sweat really bad. I listen to great like music all the time. Like I can't just sit with my thoughts. There has to be something playing in the background at all times, like podcast music, talking to someone. It's really hard for me to like find food I like and want to eat, and I think that's a huge one for me because I love eating, especially chicken and meat. I love that so much, like eggs, salmon, all that good stuff. But once I realize that like nothing sounds good to me, I'm like, holy shit, something is like obviously wrong. Um, and so all these things coupled together, I'm trying to sit with it and trying to like parse through why I feel this way. And I think it's because that I haven't really been like, this is just horribly embarrassing. I haven't really been like fully single for I don't really know, like a really long time. Maybe like 3 or 4 years, which is kind of embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Like I should have been able to sit with myself in between relationships and just be like reflect on all the things that have happened because a lot of the times I am jumping from one thing to another. And that's a coping mechanism. Obviously, you can't do that forever. It's not sustainable. But it's like I couldn't like allow myself to sit with a lot of the things that happened. And so that air of like nonchalance was just kind of that I held was just kind of like a big old cope. It was horrible. And now I have to like sit here and like try to take it all in for the past 3 years. And I don't have that person, to, I guess, make myself like ease the anxieties of life. I don't know. It's just been really difficult to like parse through. Again, I think for a while, I hate to even call it apathy, but I don't think I was apathetic towards other people. It was just like I was just kind of like going with the flow, and I think that bordered along apathy, which I really hate because I am like that type of person who wants to feel like that emotional connection and that like emotional intimacy with someone else. But I think the way I was teetering on the balance of apathy, it was just like I didn't know how to like deal with what had happened for a long time. And so I was just kind of rushing into things, you know, jumping into things with people like I truly care about now. Like it's not the people, it's the issue. It's me that's the issue. But it's just now I have to sit with that anxiety and like I'm sweating right now just trying to think about it. I wake up and like my mind is racing. I go to bed, my mind's racing. Like the only time I feel like I'm ever at peace is just like when I listen to music and go on a walk or something. And so that's something that I've been trying to like do more because I feel like if I don't go outside and touch grass, then things could really, really spiral like I feel like they have been. And Madeline RG also talks a lot about anxiety, and I think it's like I have dealt with this for such a long time that it has just become like a part of me. And so for a while I could kind of forget about all those anxieties when I was with my last partner, and I think that was really great because a lot of the things that he provided for me I could never kind of like feel safe enough to talk about that with a lot of other people. But now since, oh my god, I don't want to cry. Okay, well now since, oh, okay, we're not crying. Now since that has like come to a close, it's hard to kind of like go back to how I had felt previously. Because for a while, it had like gone away, which was really nice. It was nice for all that stuff to go away. But now I'm eating my ramen and I'm trying to sit through that and figure out why I can't just like do it by myself. God, I'm gonna have to go back and edit this. I hate trying to go back and edit my videos. But it's true. A lot of the things that like, this is why you can't rely on other people to kind of like heal certain parts of yourself, because like they're not gonna be around forever, which is sucky. And it's life, and I've been like telling myself it's been like fine because it is life. You know, people come and go throughout your life, and they make you a better person, and they inspire you to do better things. And I don't know, you open yourself up to to be like your whole self with someone, and it's hard when I don't know, that like goes away. So I wrote something about it, which has been super great because I need to like get off of this sad mood. Oh my god. I knew talking about it out loud would make myself like cry, but like I needed that, you know? You know, you just need to talk about it sometimes. Okay, here's what I wrote. There's something beautiful yet particularly gut-wrenching about accepting how a relationship no longer serves either party. In my experience, it requires a level of introspection and respect for oneself that comes after a period of trying to make it work. And by trying, I mean really trying. When I imagine what trying looks like, I see it as identifying an issue, an action, a belief, a habit, whatever it is, whether with yourself or your partner, and deciding to communicate that grievance in hopes of coming out stronger as a collective. So after an issue has been spoken about openly and honestly, you have to muster up the strength to keep trying, which can look like brainstorming ways to decrease the frequency or odds of this issue happening again. This is the hardest part for me, especially because being honest about how you feel is difficult within itself, but practicing what you preach can be even more challenging. It's about making conscious decisions with your partner in mind to give a little more than you had previously done before. Life is all about giving some days and taking some other days. In other words, I see relationships as adding up to 100. On bad days, you give 30, and the other days, you may have to give 70. On good days, maybe it's an even 50-50, but you will somehow find 100. The last part of trying is circling back around to hard conversations, checking in on how the other person is feeling, reflecting, rinsing and repeating, in hopes that one day these issues won't be as challenging to parse through. But this thought dump isn't about the steps or the perfect one-size-fits-all relationship guide. It's about how to keep going after you've tried it and it doesn't work. One person decided to take a little more, and the other couldn't find more to give, or vice versa. No one tells you what to do after the love isn't strong enough to overcome the odds of trying. What to do then? And my conclusion was that I really have no idea. I've been sent to the drawing board. I've been sent back to the drawing board, actually, reading affirmations that periodically make myself feel better. Well, if it wasn't meant to be, then it would have been. The world will give me lessons, and all I can do is try to learn from them. But I see those as merely band-aids for the unanswerable questions that exist on the surface. The deeper lesson that I found was that we are complex, flawed individuals, which breeds complex dynamics. Relationships aren't flawed, people are. The beauty in that is how we recognize those flaws and decide to love someone because of them. And if you're sitting here thinking, my flaws would never bring me to do X, Y, or Z to someone, then it's a blessing you don't carry those flaws. So you nor I can love every flaw, but we can do our best to recognize how to keep trying or when to say this no longer serves me. Claps! I like that. I like what I wrote. Not to pat myself on the back or anything, but I don't know. I've been existing on both sides of that equation. Like, I've been the person who tries so hard to make something work, like shoving puzzle pieces together that obviously don't fit. And I have been on the flip side of that where I just don't have it in me to try really hard. And like, that's when you kind of have to recognize that you have to let that other person go because they have so much love to give and they deserve to find a person to give that love to, and that obviously cannot be you, whether that's because of a situation, a location, an emotional availability. It's just because of so many other reasons that are just really hard to learn. So I really like this quote. I think I saw it in a video that was like, true love, this is their definition of true love. It's holding each other accountable and wanting what's best for one another sincerely. It's not necessarily to leave blame and guilt behind on the road to healing, to move from self-accusation to curiosity. Wait, I think those were two separate ideas. Okay, wait, let me go back. Yeah, holding each other accountable and wanting what's best for one another sincerely. I would definitely agree with that. You can truly love someone and have the recognition to let that person go. You know, you want what's best for the other person in your truest of hearts, and that can be a hard pill to swallow. Because at our core, I think we do put ourselves first in a lot of situations. But if you recognize that the other person is like not fulfilled in a relationship, but you still love them so much, it can be so hard to try to distance yourself from that person or try to let that person go in a way. So yeah, those were my main thoughts of what I'm feeling right now. And so things that I've been trying to do to kind of like ease my anxieties, like I said, go on walks. Embarrassingly enough, I was asking Chat GPT because that's when like I've hit a roadblock. Like I've done a lot of things that I feel like I already know myself enough that I can like sit down and make myself feel better, but it's only like a band-aid for the situation. It's only like helping me for a period of time, and still at the end of the day I'm like a little bit sad and a little bit anxious, a lot of it. And so I've been reading, been taking my dog on walks. I just made myself some ramen because that sounded good, and now it's going cold in front of me. What else have I been doing? Spending time with my family. I don't know. I really want to get into like transcendentalism more because I really like Ralph Waldo Emerson and what's his other name? John Muir, maybe? Who wrote Walden Pond? Henry David Thoreau. Yeah, I really like all those guys because a lot of their ideas are mainly just like going out in nature and finding peace within yourself and not through material wealth. And in Self Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson, he wrote, "We must find our identity, values, and actions from a labor of experiencing life, not from a passive acceptance of the things the world tries to imprint upon us." And I think that kind of teeters the line of like radical acceptance, because we don't just want to like, I don't know, passively accept things. We want to, I don't know where I'm going with this. I guess I just want to like switch the word passive with like radical. I've already talked about radical acceptance, but yeah, a lot of our values and actions are working together in tandem to kind of form our experience, right? And the only way we can do that is going outside and doing those things. Like Henry David Thoreau went into the woods for like 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days, and stayed in a cabin and just, self-reflected. And I just like, I wish in like my ideal world I could do that. I mean, I'm obviously not in a place to do that right now, but you have to give up a lot of yourself, like your ego, your material goods, to be able to do that successfully. And that's something that I really want to like do in my like 50-year plan, along with like joining the Peace Corps. But yeah, I'm going to try to look into that more just to keep myself busy and to find more things that align with how I'm feeling and how to like apply them to make myself a better person, if that makes sense. What else do I have on here? Oh my God, yeah. And I also talked about how I have to delete TikTok and Instagram because it's making me even more like depressed because my algorithm knows me so bad, in like the worst way ever. Especially TikTok. I've like had a weird, I don't know, relationship with TikTok for a long time. Like I've just deleted it most times. I've kept it for like an hour when I sat on the toilet and had to like shit or something. But I watched this TikTok that was really fucking sad, right? And so I had to write something about it. It was basically about this horse and this llama. I actually don't want to go into this. You can find it on my blog. I actually can't go into this right now. But then this other TikTok that I saw was like, comment like the most gut-wrenching thing that anyone has ever told you. And so I was like, perfect. I need this right now. I need to listen to what other people have been going through. I don't know, to like confirm some of the emotions that I've been going through and to make myself feel like less alone, or maybe just to like weirdly relate to a random user like halfway across the world. But this one said, "You're a leech. You attach yourself to anyone who mistakenly loves you." My God, that's horrible. That's a wretched thing to say to someone. I personally, if I heard that, if someone told me that, which I feel like I saved this because deep down I could see someone telling me this, I would literally puke on the spot. I wouldn't know what to do with myself after I heard such a horrible, cruel sentence come out of someone's mouth and be directed towards me as a person, because I feel like I like put myself on this pedestal for being emotionally available for a lot of my friends and like empathetic towards a lot of their situations, truly listening to them, trying not to just like respond to them, but just like try to take in what they're saying and listen to them truly. Because a lot of these people that like you talk to, they don't need advice, right? They just want to rant and they already have a decision made up in their mind, unless they specifically ask you for needing advice. But most of the time, people just want to rant to you. And um, this would just be like a soul crushing, like soul level crushing thing that someone could say to me. Um, Another one that I read was that um, you think that they're perfect because you don't know them. And once you see them for the real person that they are, you realize that they're flawed. And the more you know them, the more you see their flaws. And you try to accept that and love them because of it. Ugh, so good. That was kind of in line with my essay thing that I wrote earlier. Beautiful, beautiful things. I don't really have anything profound to say off of these things. I was just trying to like continue my notion of um I guess relating to someone else, and not that it even makes me feel better like being able to relate to these people online, because I don't know their stories. Our situations are not the same. The things that we're feeling probably aren't. And I mean, maybe in like they mildly overlap, but um I think it also kind of goes into like seeking some sort of, sorry, there's like a bird calling outside, but like seeking some sort of like bid for connection with someone. And I think that's something that I really value as a person, like having these friendships that could maybe turn into romantic adventures or just having platonic friendships. Um, I've always been seeking for like the perfect, not really the perfect, but like something that fulfills like me to my core. And I don't know if I'll ever kind of like lose that part of me as a person, as much as I like wrongfully try to like be super cool and chill with every person that may come into my life. I literally want to hold on to them for dear life. Like, you will not leave my life until you physically walk out and block me on everything. And that's not a good trait to have. I realize that. But like on the flip side, keeping people in my life has been something that I really try to aim for. I think like I really don't try to leave anyone's life. And maybe that's also a bad trait to have. I don't know. There's just such like a give and take between all these different situations. I think it can be really good when you apply it to all your friendships, right? Because you put a lot of like dedication and like love and you cherish these people, and so it's really hard for me to like let go of these people, and so I try to keep them around as long as possible. I think that's a good trait to have. But for, I guess, the romantic side of relationships, I don't think that would be a really great value to have, only because if people want to leave your life, you have to let them. The Let Them Theory by Mel Gibson, I think. And it's also selfish to try to keep people around for as long as possible, especially if something else would serve them better in their life. So I don't know. I think that's just kind of like wrapping up this discussion of what has been happening and what's been making me anxious and how I'm going to try to crawl out of this hole of anxiety for the next few weeks before my job starts. But I'm sorry I've just been like rocking back and forth. Like, this chair is just a little bit bumpy and I'm going to go eat my lunch now. So thanks for listening to me again. Bye.